Hello there, good evening and welcome to Political Lens. Now, this is Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. We are broadcasting on Metro SL TV channel 264. You can also click on the subscription button on YouTube. We are Voice of the People TV, and other social media platforms are VOP TV Live. This is an interactive discussion. You can also call in on the number that is scrolling on your screen. Now, the number is 0907-473-2605. I am Chukwuma Okoro. And this evening, we are looking at the claim by suspended governor of Rivers State, Fubara, that he is no longer interested in going back to office as governor of Rivers State. We'll also look at the PDP governors meeting where former governor of Rivers State and current FCT minister Wike made a sudden appearance on the meeting, and people are asking if he made a farewell visit to his fellow governors and former governors. Well, let's bring in our guests as we are joined by Mr. Dele Fanimo. Dele is a seasoned reporter and VOP in-house analyst. Good evening, Dele Fanimo, and thanks for coming to Political Lens. We appreciate your presence.
Good evening, Chukuma, and I'm happy I'm back on the beat.
Okay, so how was your weekend?
Oh, fantastic. Elongated weekend for that matter.
I guess. All right, very well then. Now, let's kick into the show. Following the gala of defection hitting the People's Democratic Party, PDP, the governors elected on the platform of the party convened a meeting in Abuja last night. Top of the agenda was the urgent need to tackle the party's internal wrangling, which triggered high-profile defections to the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC. While taking place at the Bauchi State Governor's Lodge in Asokoro, the event drew the participation of current and former PDP governors, alongside other prominent party figures. Among those in attendance were the acting national chairman of the party, Ambassador Ilya Damagum, former Bayelsa State Governor, Senator Siraki Dixon, Plateau State Governor Caleb Muftwa, Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke, former Osun State Governor Olagunshole Oyinyolola, former Cross River State Governor Lieli Moke, former Enugu State Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, former Abia State Governor Okezi Ikpeazu, and former Imo State Governor Achike Udemwa, among others. Well, the meeting had barely begun when FCT Minister Wike arrived at the venue of the meeting. They were also expected to discuss critical issues ahead of the National Executive Committee meeting, scheduled for May 27, as well as the potential for a convention in August. There are growing concerns within the party that May 27 NEC meeting may be disrupted or even cancelled, which could in turn jeopardize the planned August convention if key matters are not resolved swiftly. This anxiety has been compounded by recent depletion of the party's ranks following the defection of Delta State Governor Sheriff Oboroweri, his predecessor Ifeanyi Okowa, who was the running mate to Atiku Abubakar, the 2023 presidential candidate of the PDP, and the entire PDP structure in the state to the ruling All Progressives Congress. Now, on the issue of coalition, at its April 14, 2025 meeting, the PDP Governors Forum meeting resolved, among others, that it will not support the idea of forming a coalition against the ruling party in 2027 election. That's quite interesting. Well, the governor said that as a major opposition party, the PDP will welcome any party, association or group willing to join it, with a view to wresting power and enthroning good leadership in 2027. But Wike, shortly after the Ibadan meeting, granted an interview in which he openly declared his support for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the 2027 general election. The Delta defections, as some PDP stalwarts now described them, were followed by another wave of defections, which with lawmakers in Jigawa State and other party members leaving for the APC. I think there were about 267 of them that left the PDP to APC in Jigawa State. Now, all three PDP senators from Kebbi State are reportedly set to join the APC, while it is rumored that the governors of Akwa Ibom and Bayelsa State, as well as the only PDP governor in the South is talking about Peter Mbah, may also defect to the APC. Adding to the shock was the declaration by former First Lady, then Patience Jonathan, that she will support President Bola Tinubu's re-election in 2027. This development may have foreclosed the possibility of convincing former President Goodluck Jonathan to recontest on the party's platform in 2027. As it stands, the North, which is reportedly dissatisfied with President Tinubu's leadership style, may opt to support another Southerner to challenge the incumbent president under the PDP's platform. The only candidate from the South with the constitutional right to serve one term is Jonathan. However, that possibility now appears remote, following Dame Jonathan's declaration of support for President Tinubu in 2027. Another likely agenda at the meeting may have been the position of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar within the party. Although the former Vice President has not officially decamped to the Social Democratic Party, SDP, as has been speculated in recent weeks, party stakeholders remain uncertain about the stability of the hierarchy of Adamawa within the PDP. Now, according to an insider, the governor sought to clarify this matter and also decide whether the current PDP leadership should strategically concede the next presidential ticket to a southerner under a firm agreement that such a candidate will serve only one term to allow power to rotate back to North in 2023. It was gathered that this issue has become highly sensitive within the party's ranks, with some northern members arguing that if a southern president is likely to seek 2 terms, it would be better to allow President Tinubu to complete his constitutional 2 terms by 2021, after which power will return to the North. Yesterday's meeting followed an earlier one held by the governors 3 weeks ago, like I said, in Ibadan, where they declared that the party will not participate in the coalition talks led by Atiku and former Kaduna State Governor Malam Nasiru El-Rufai. While Delta State Governor Shehu Oboriwe was notably absent at the Ibadan meeting. The Abuja meeting held at the Bauchi State Governor's Lodge in Asokoro also took place amid concerns and uncertainties ahead of the long-awaited meeting of the party's National Executive Committee meeting scheduled for May 2027. Well, the 3 main blocs currently strategizing for May 27 next meeting are the PDP governors, the Atiku Abubakar bloc, and loyalists of the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. Meanwhile, former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido has expressed optimism about the PDP's prospects, predicting that some APC members, including National Chairman Abdullahi Ganduje, will soon return to PDP. Well, a lot of people are wondering how that will happen. According to Lamido, I'm confident that all those who left the PDP will return, including Ganduje, because very soon the APC will burst and split into factions, Lamido said. He reiterated his belief that the PDP will rise with full force to reclaim power in 2027. I said it and I repeat it. Within 6 months, all those who defected to APC will come back, and the PDP will rise with full force to wrest power in 2027. Now, this is Lamido Sule speaking. We're speaking at the PDP State Congress and election of new executives at Aminu Kano Triangle in Dutse. Lamido also expressed concern that the Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led government is endangering Nigerians' unity due to its failed mission, lost focus, and harsh economic policies. He criticized the government as deceitful and lacking the competence to deliver good governance. According to him, Nigeria is drifting to a tunnel of disintegration with mushroom cabals as implementers of bad policies. And the mission of President Tinubu lacks objectives of good governance for success and prosperity, he said. And in another major development, the suspended governor of Rivers State, we are in Rivers State now, Sim Fubara, has said he is not desperate to return to office. Fubara made a statement at the service of songs held in honor of late elder statesman Edwin Clark in Port Harcourt, the state capital, over the weekend. The event was organized by Rivers Elders Forum yesterday. Now, the embattled governor was responding to several speakers at the event who referred to him as governor and strongly criticized his suspension, calling for its immediate reversal. He distanced himself from their remarks, describing them as personal opinions. According to him, such comments were unlikely to promote peace. Not everything is Oshogbe, he cautioned, hinting at his preference for a more strategic and less confrontational approach to the ongoing political crisis. He stressed that as a leader, he was quite aware of the enormous responsibilities before him and was doing what needed to be done within the ambit of the law to restore normalcy in a bid to move the state forward. Fubara added that now he enjoys peace of mind and appears even healthier, and emphasized the importance of drawing inspiration from the life and values of late Pa Edwin Clark, particularly his commitment to peace, unity, personal sacrifice, and statesmanship. Dele, now that's a lot of history that we have put together in a space of like 10 minutes or so. And in all of this, let's look at the comment coming from the suspended governor, Sim Fubara. Does it appear that he's capitulated, to stronger powers? He said he doesn't wish to go back to office. Do you think that he's under pressure to stay the course, or he's just making a political comment, to continue to appease the president? He said quite a lot. I don't wish to go back to office. Some of you don't even know.
I listened to the
okay, listen to all
speech.
Of that, to the speech that Fubara.
I listened to the speech, and I looked beyond the speech. I looked at his body language.
Okay.
You just described it vividly. The man is under severe pressure.
Okay. To stay the course.
And he knew that he needed to fly a kite and gauge the pulse of the political class, and by extension, the people of Rivers State. I'm sure he would have been disappointed by now that no strong statement had been issued by any group to buoy him up, to encourage him, and to give him that fillip that he desired as a result of that inglorious speech. One, if somebody had given you his mandate, the mandate was for 4 years. Are you going to tell that person that he has frittered his sovereignty, that he or she surrendered to you for a term of 4 years, just because you made some decisions that bordered on indiscretion? I'll say this. He ran into murky water, invested with shark, when he went to where he was clobbered to submission during his visit to Aso Rock to meet with President Tinubu.
Okay, during the peace meeting between
Yes.
him, Fubara, and Wike.
Yes.
Are you saying he shouldn't have gone there?
He should have gone there
Okay.
armed with certain things. For instance, he should have gone there and tell Tinubu, nobody's going to put a gun on his head at that meeting, because it's not likely to happen. That, look, you gave me certain conditions. I need to go back to my constituency. I need to discuss with people before I can sign this treaty, or whatever it is that is called. You signed unimplementable 8-point agenda, which presupposes signing away whatever is left in River State. And the next thing you did was to come out. It shows that his stock in trade is not respecting agreement.
No, but he respected that agreement. The other parties did not.
Wait. He didn't respect all the 8 letters. He only acceded to withdrawing his case against the 27 lawmakers.
Maybe he wanted some form of piecemeal implementation. I withdraw the case, you withdraw your own. Then when he withdrew, the other party did not withdraw. So
No,
you'd be expecting to go on with implementing the deal when the other parties were not playing ball.
Now, the point is, a thief approaches you to secure your house, and you decide to go back to sleep with your 2 eyes closed. In fact, whatever you wore as night dress will be stripped off you by the time you wake up in the morning. Not even the duvet or anything that you use to cover yourself. Not to talk of furniture and fittings in the house. And that was the game that played out.
Okay.
Now, it started with when governorship was to be given out by Wike. Wike had a pact with him. He didn't denounce that. He went through with Wike. He agreed to all the terms. For the first 6 months of his stay in office, he was ready to play ball. He was ready to surrender the treasury of River State, to the extent that Wike gave him chief of staff, chief of whatever, commissioners, essays, and all that. Chief of protocol, even security. Now, suddenly you woke up after about 6-7 months. You wanted to be a man of your own. And that was the beginning of this crisis. And the first part that he made, the first one was because he knew Wike installed those lawmakers, and that they would submit to the whims and caprices of Wike. He went to demolish the State House of Assembly. So that those
Did he just wake up and went to demolish the House of Assembly?
He knew that
there were issues that led to that.
If they sit,
was he in a hurry to rescue the people of River State from Wike's stronghold?
Let me tell you, it wasn't a rescue mission.
What was it?
Look,
you think it was personal?
It was personal.
Between him and Wike, or
Yes.
between him, Rivers people, and Wike?
Between him and Wike. You see, these people When Wike was fighting Atiku for losing that ticket of PDP, people saw it as
fighting for the South.
Fighting for the South. But it turned out that it wasn't fighting for the South. Most politicians, when they want to start their fight, they will make it look like a general problem. But whereas it's a personal problem. Fubara shouldn't have. What, is it compulsory that you must be a governor at times that you cannot follow through? What stops Fubara? He has made so much in a space of time that he was in government. He rose to become the accountant general of the state, and for 8 years he was hobnobbing with Wike, and he was declaring. In fact, by now they should have arrested Fubara. He was there as the chief operating officer of the account of River State, and he was declaring 13 out of 28 every month for 8 years. So 15 is was going to private hands. Why would an ex-governor not buy a private jet? If you go to Port Harcourt Airport now, you will see private jet of past governors there, lying there. So what was the antecedent in business? What was the antecedent in public service that gave them that money to buy those jets? Is it not this 15 that he and his principal were keeping for 8 years?
Okay, now, don't you think he was trying to broke that channel? That channel of filtering Rivers money.
If he had wanted to do that, he should have done that immediately he became governor.
And that was what he tried to do.
He didn't do it. He didn't do it. He didn't do it.
Now people are people are blaming him for being too fast in trying to dismantle Wike's structure. And you are saying that he should have started immediately he became
He shouldn't have even considered to whatever agreement Wike did.
Would he have become governor if he didn't?
Is it compulsory that he must be governor?
But somebody will have to do the job.
And then let him retain his integrity.
You have been blaming another person for what you are blaming Wike?
Let me tell you. If I know, and I've been in a position like this, that if I do this, I'll get this. But when I weigh the options, and in my part of Yoruba land, the first thing you protect is your name. Because most of us, we answer ancestral names. And I remember my grandfather told me at one point that, look, I went with this name to every corner of West Africa, and the name was not dented. Now, your father went to the army, retired, this name was not spoiled. Now you are taking this name away. So the animal I bear is not my own name, it's an ancestral name. And I know that my children will still inherit it, my children's children will inherit it. So if Fubara was on the matter of integrity, an accountant general of the state for 8 years.
Let's come back to what is going on. It's likely that negotiations are ongoing.
The point is, what is going on currently now is that it is possible that Fubara agreed to the terms when he went to UK to meet with the APC president while he's still PDP.
Okay.
Now, follow up to that, Oshoba and which other governor now? I think Dapo Abiodun.
Dapo Abiodun, yes.
Both of them from Ogun State.
And one other fellow.
They took him to Wike's private residence. Can't you see the trajectory? And I'm sure Wike would have said, okay, now that I hold the aces, are you still ready to play the ball or not?
Exactly. That is okay.
Now, it is that thing that is staring him in the face that, look, go and talk to your benefactor. Whatever terms and conditions he wants from you, you should abide by it. Now, he now realizes that already certain shenanigans that were in the closet had been laid bare in the open. The issue of shortchanging River State for 8 years under declaring monthly IGR and all that. And then there are over 7 means of making money in River State that is not open to other state governments. So, all those ones, he now realizes that the focus is on, if he comes back, how is he going to defend that that 28 billion monthly IGR has now turned back to 13 or 10. Who is going to take it from him? And yet, he must be servicing certain elements within and outside the state with the shortfall that were never declared for 8 years. So he's now feeling that, how am I going to navigate this murky water that is invested with shark? And so the only way is it not better to stay out of trouble and see what? But on the flip side, you know, when you are enmeshed in greed, wisdom flies away, because wisdom and greed, they don't cohabit.
Okay, now what I want us to interrogate his comments, you know, at that service of song. He said he was asking people that know me, don't you see how I'm looking? Now. I'm looking better now. So well, the question is, does it look like he is being squeezed? You know,
no.
As the negotiation goes on.
It's just playing to the gallery. An average, I don't know about the northern governors, because I've gone to some states in the north to see the governor, and at 9 o'clock they will tell you he has not woken up. But I've not seen a southern governor that can enjoy 4 hours sleep, except when they travel abroad to go and rest and probably keep their loot. But here in Nigeria, go to any government house as we speak, they will line you up for a meeting of 10 o'clock, but you end up seeing the governor at 3 a.m.
Okay, so you think that Fubara is...
out of office, he will gather weight, because he's not going to have sleepless nights.
He's saying, look, I don't even want to go back there.
Now that
you people think that I even want to go back there. He said his mind left there long ago.
Let's wait.
You think he doesn't mean it? He's not serious with what he said.
He doesn't mean it. He was initially driven by greed.
Exactly my point. Now,
he was initially driven by greed.
Based on what he said, do you think that he's under pressure by his followers, you know, not to crumble, to just stay the course? Or do you think that left alone, that he will just leave, abandon ship and go away?
He is not going to go. You knew what happened between Alamisia and Jonathan.
Okay.
When Alamisia was in serious trouble. Jonathan was running away from government house. He said he's not interested in becoming governor. Eventually, didn't he become governor? Didn't he become vice president? And finally, president. Okay. They turn... You read 48 laws of power now. These are the things they do. That's their Bible, politicians. Then the Godfather and all that. So what we are saying now is Fubara is in a dilemma. Should I take? There is chalice, and the aroma is inviting, the chalice is distracting. So, gentlemen, what do we do? That's what he has just done. Rivers people, what do I do? Do I get your support? Or I should just hang my boots and retire to my home? Unfortunately, since that thing broke out, the service of song last weekend, up till now, we have not seen a strong body in Rivers State saying, no, you must go. Yes, step down.
So does it look like his people have also abandoned him? That they want? Because I wanted to ask you the question. The whole issue about state of emergency, being illegal, being unconstitutional and all of that, all those things have died down. Does it look like the people have resigned to fate?
The point is...
And accepted Ibas as their sole administrator?
No, it's just that, yes, some of them were agitating. But Ibas has done one or two things. Like opening up, even if it was for showmanship.
Okay.
If Fubara was still in government house, the 300 million naira that was gifted MBA wouldn't have come out. Nobody would know. If Fubara had been in government, the allocation that he kept away from Rivers people for 8 years, under declaring to the tune of 15 billion, you know what 15 billion naira can do? 15 billion naira in 3 months, that's 45 billion. Which hospital in the world that 45 billion cannot erect?
No, but it was in January 2024 that the issue of how much, you know, that the IGR had to move up. So wasn't it a good thing that he came to office and opened up for them?
The truth about it is that IGR has always been constant. If he's now saying that it was in 2024, what was the magic he put into the IGR?
Which means they were under-declaring.
They were under-declaring.
Exactly the point.
And when they were under-declaring, they were in mutual agreement.
We understand all of that. You are saying that IBAS has done a few things, like the revelations now about 300 million and the IGR and all of that. But the IGR thing came even before Fubara was suspended.
But it was...
Now, the question is, does it look like now the Rivers people are used to IBAS? Because like I said, the issue of
may not necessarily
Rivers, the declaration of state of emergency is illegal and all of that. All of those things have quieted down.
You know that the case is in court.
Exactly
and
the point.
The hearing will start very soon.
Very soon.
So now what the Rivers people had done is to just wait
and see
the outcome of the judgment.
Okay, and between the PDP governors and the federal government. I'm happy that you brought us to this point. Now, we have 11 senior advocates of Nigeria join the federal government team. You and I talked about this on the morning newspaper review this morning. Now, does it look like the federal government is jittery? That look, if they don't handle this case, that the court might just cancel or vacate the declaration of state of emergency. Is that why they had to hire 11 senior advocates? And now, how would that impact on looking for a political solution for the resolution of the crisis between Wike, Fubara, and at this point, the president himself?
You don't allow a rampaging bulldog in your compound without trying to leash it. Because what if you think it will just bite and leave, and then the dog wrought maximum damage that are irreversible? And don't forget that what you don't ask from court, the court cannot be magnanimous to give you. So it will be foolhardy for federal government to just allow that case to go when the PDP governors had arrayed several lawyers to handle that case for them. So it is good that federal government is saying, okay, even when we are talking out of court settlement, but you can't leave the space. It was because Fubara left the space for the 27 lawmakers that is reeling in throes of pain today. So federal government will not fold his arm. And don't forget that Lateef Fagbemi, that is the Attorney General of the Federation today, if you look at those 11 lawyers, they are his kids and kings in law. Because Olujimi and Fagbemi, they had their roots in Emmanuel Chambers, owned by Afe Babalola.
Okay.
And they got their son. And if you look at that list, you have about 3 or 4 Olujimis who are probably in their father's chamber.
Okay.
And some other people that were mentioned were once Afe Babalola's lawyer.
Okay. Now you think that they are trying to give support to one of their own?
They are only giving support to Lateef Fagbemi.
Okay, Lateef Fagbemi.
To ensure that he has a smooth passage while he's the Attorney General of the Federation.
Okay, and now let's leave Rivers State and go to the national level. Let's look at the PDP governors meeting and the ongoing efforts to hold the spate of defections in the PDP. Now, do you think Wike was at that meeting unannounced to make contributions or take a further cut into the soul of the PDP to cause its final death? We call that the same Wike had over last week, over last month, endorsed the president and said that those who query his achievement, now that was last week, after he said last month in a battle, that he is clearly working, for the re-election of the president in 2027. Last week he said that those who doubt, the achievements of the president are either blind or deaf. More like what Daniel Buhala himself said. So, Wike's meeting at that governor's meeting, former governor's meeting, of which is one of them, but he came unannounced. I'm not sure they invited him, because it's more like, but if they didn't invite him, how did he know that there was a meeting? Goes further to show that Wike has insiders within the PDP. Now, do you think that his presence was to save the PDP, as some people have speculated, or is it to give a final death knell to the PDP?
Is it as it is today? Okay. Except we want to deceive ourselves. PDP is in ICU.
Okay.
And you have a transducer that is holding the leather injection.
Okay.
He's not going to allow a free reign of the man he wants to inject.
So he's simply he's gone there to remove the oxygen.
That's exactly what is going on. Because number one, who made Damagu the acting chairman? It was through Wike. This thing, PDP is still existing today. Mark my word, existing, not on a firm footing, is as a result of the oxygen Wike brought into PDP through that 50 billion naira intervention when PDP was on the throes of death. So, even when you tie a criminal to the stake, you still allow bishop or pastor to come and pray for him for the last time. So Wike had already planned the exit of PDP. So he needs to also make sure that he's there. Number one, that meeting was held in Bauchi government liaison office in Abuja.
In Abuja, yes. Asokoro.
The point is, if Wike was not invited, how did he get to know that that meeting was taking place? Which means there are moles in PDP. That even
of course,
if
his henchmen were there, Ifan Ugwuanyi was there, Okezie Bazo was there.
Those 5 governors
the 5 governors, two of them were there.
2 of them were there. So there is no way. You see, I made some allusions a while ago. I said there was a particular bed in a particular ward in ICU, and that bed, nobody stays there for 2 nights. If somebody is put on that bed this evening, by tomorrow morning, by 8 o'clock, that person is dead automatically. So they were insinuating maybe witches or wizards are behind this death. But one man that was trained abroad now said, okay, let's rest this matter. He cleverly planted CCTV camera inside that ward, looking straight at that particular ward. Do you know what happened? Unknown to everybody in that place, the cleaner of that particular hospital and the bed where oxygen and everything was fixed and plugged to the wall socket. That woman, she doesn't get electricity in her house. So every morning when she comes to resume for duty, the first thing she does is to unplug the socket and put her phone charger and begin to charge her phone. And the moment the woman unplugs that socket, the patient dies. Now, if that CCTV camera was not planted and that woman was discussed, maybe till today, somebody will be dying every night, every morning on that bed.
Okay, so
the cleaner is the known cleaner in PDP now, which is Wike.
Okay.
And they harassed, they promised, they threatened. Up till now, Wike is still standing in PDP.
Okay, yes.
And they cannot remove PDP.
Now, talking about Wike still standing in the PDP. Now, the question is this. At what point do you think that Wike will formally, officially leave the PDP?
He's not going to leave PDP. And they cannot remove him. The earliest time they can remove Wike, which I don't consider.
If Atiku leaves PDP, P2B has left. If Atiku leaves PDP, P2B has left. Then President Jonathan clearly said, look, I'm going to work for the re-election of President Tinubu in 2027 because I'm not interested in taking Remi Tinubu's position in Aso Rock. I don't want to go to Aso Rock again. So if all these heavyweights are all leaving PDP, 3 senators from Jigawa State, yes, from Kebbi State, are leaving PDP.
You are aware.
So in all of this, what do you think? Does it look like, does it make sense for Wike to remain in the PDP instead of formally declaring for the APC?
No, you cannot, because he has an unfinished business with PDP.
And what would that be? What's his business in PDP?
Until
PDP is dismantled completely.
It's dismantled completely, and the egg and the yolk are taken out of the shell. This question, and the shell is now left for anybody.
Now I ask this question in the light of the fact that there are also rumors that Wike wants to declare for the APC formally and leave PDP. You think it will not happen?
He will eventually declare, but not until he has finished the project given to him.
What else is left?
And as all the governors defected.
Okay, well, now we hear that Peter Mba is likely to defect. Oborowere and Ifeanyi Okowa left. And no Omo is likely.
Diri has not defected.
Diri has not defected.
You think it's for nothing that Wike said he was going to hold a rally in Bayelsa?
And they stopped him.
It's just a waiting game.
Okay.
Until when he would have decimated PDP to the extent that what is left of the carcass will not be attractive to anybody.
The impression we had was that the northern governors and the northern senators will not leave PDP. But we see 3 of them from Kebbi State living in one fell swoop. So,
I've told
does
you,
it look like the one-party threat is reality? Does it look like it's real? Nigeria descending to one-party state?
You see, I still, up till now, I still have not seen that thing that will make me feel comfortable that Nigeria is running a one-party state in the next election.
Okay.
But the only thing is the powers of the opposition would have been whittled down to the extent that they will be playing on the fringe. And it won't upset the apple cart. That's what I see. Because right now, there is no strong opposition in Nigeria. Is it LP? Is it PDP? Peter Obi had, if not for the kind of mess that Labour Party found itself, the likes of Patutomi wouldn't have opted for shadow opposition,
yes,
shadow government.
Yes.
You know,
under the umbrella of the
because the man is exasperated, and I sympathize with Patutomi.
Sorry, Dele, before we go to the Patutomi issue, because we are running out of time, we see Jonathan last week. We saw Jonathan say, look, this one-party thing that we are gravitating towards is not going to help Nigeria. It forebode danger for the country. And 3-4 days after that, and his wife says, look, I am supporting the president for re-election in 2027. What does that tell you?
But you know that Madam Patient Jonathan has a very strong hold on Brother Jonathan.
Exactly the question, exactly the point. That's what I'm asking.
It's not today now. You recall that those days when they were in government, the wife of the president should be 2 steps behind the president. But what did you see? Patient Jonathan will enter the aircraft before the president himself. And sometimes she will make revelations that may not.
No, but in precedence, the president is supposed to be the last person to enter the aircraft or to enter an event. So that the wife entered ahead of him, I think it's okay.
Well, if that is the protocol.
The president,
but
yes.
I've seen some presidents that just like in tow, the wife will be there.
Like Trump and Melania.
So I don't know how you got your own.
But in terms of precedence, it's when the president enters at the shot. You see the aircraft, and he waves and they shot the aircraft.
The point I'm making now is that if that woman had been a submissive person to the president, the ex-president, that statement shouldn't have come from her at that occasion. Remi Tinubu will not make that statement on behalf of Tinubu.
Okay, now let's leave their family business and let's leave their family problem for them. Now, the presidency of Jonathan is more like foreclosed based on what Patience has said. Now, the Northerners...
The Oracle has spoken.
The Oracle has spoken. Now, the Northerners are shopping for a Southerner who will agree to do 1 term and revert power back to the North, and revert power to the North.
I know is that Southerner.
And who is that Southerner? Because the Northern governors are also saying, look, it will be difficult to find a Southerner who will agree to do 1 term. So is it not better that we leave this thing in the hands of APC and Tinubu?
That is true. So that by 2030, he cannot go for another term again.
So now, what does that tell you about the talk about mega coalition, the talk about the big tent coalition, the talk about the opposition, the talk about 2027? It's like it is already given for the APC.
You recall that when we were debating about Ondo election here, I said that election will not be rigged. The only reason why Ayedatiwa is not that we love Ayedatiwa in Ondo State, but enlightened selfish interest was what made everybody support Ayedatiwa. The vote in the central senatorial district to which I belong is greater than any of the votes in the other two constituencies. And we also want, the convention is that power is going to rotate back to central after south, because Akeredolu was north and Ayedatiwa was, is south.
South, okay.
So, and Ayedatiwa cannot be sworn in 3 times. He had been sworn in 2 times. First term when he completed Akeredelu's tenure, and then the second one when that he just won election now. Okay. So it is better for us to vote Ayedatiwa and not Agboola, that has not been a governor before, that we want to spend 8 years. So because of that, the central decided to vote for Ayedatiwa so that power can revert to the central in the next election. It's the same thing that the Northerners, Northerners are very, very good and astute in political calculations. 6 years is like 60 years to the Northerners. Because a Northerner out of power is like fish out of water. So, who is that Southerner that would hold on to the reins of power and then voluntarily say, I'm not contesting second term? If that Southerner, apart from Tinubu, wins the 2027 election. So is it not better to queue behind somebody that we are sure that will not give us problem? What if it suddenly becomes a monster after saying, look at what Fubara did to Wike now? I'm sure if Wike had looked through the crystal ball and know that this man is likely to do what he did, he wouldn't have picked him. So the Northerners are also learning from some of these permutations that it is better we allow this man, either good or bad. Okay. Because what concerns the Hausa man, the Northerner, is that power must rotate.
Back. So the whole idea of the North ganging up against Tinubu is not going to work.
I told you earlier now, about a month or 2 ago, I told you, I said all these things. Somebody told me, a top politician told me that for a president not to return second term in this country, the first time you see that 2 years before the next election, he will go to places and they will pelt him with sachet water, maybe raw egg and all that, and even stop his convoy. Was that not what they did to Jonathan? That was what they did to him. But we have not seen it happening to Tinubu. Tinubu went to Katsina. Nobody stopped him. They gave him heroic welcome. He went to Rivers, Anambra. They gave him heroic welcome. They even gave him title and everything. So whoever now wants to complain that Biaka honors appointment is a ruse, can they defend it now? Look at the way Soludo received him. Look at the way the traditional rulers gave him title. So the point is, for you to, it's not just Bia Palo argument that will remove a Tinubu from president.
Okay. Now that the obedience are gathering momentum again, does it look like that momentum is going to amount to nothing in 2027? And let's talk about the coalition too. We are running out of time. The coalition, if the obedient movement and the mega coalition, if they join forces together, are they not able to take power from
They cannot take power. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Whoever is queuing behind Patutomi wants to use him as a cannon fodder. And the earlier Patutomi knows the better for him. Most of these people, they know that they are fall short of the glory of Nigerians. And so they need somebody that has some semblance of Spartan antecedents, like Patutomi, like Peter Obi. But the nucleus of those people around those two elements are not edifying. And so once they know that these are people that can be called a month to election and be induced, and they fall apart from Peter Obi and Patutomi. From all the coalition they are talking about, I've only seen 2 people, Peter Obi and Patutomi. Any other person is an opportunist in that group.
Okay, exactly the question I wanted to ask. More like, let's even say that it's an exercise in futility.
It's an exercise in futility.
Who do you think that the South will produce as presidential candidates in 2027?
For which party?
For PDP, maybe PDP, Labour Party, SDP.
Makinde is also planning to run.
Who is behind Makinde? Is he behind himself?
What stops somebody from being used as placeholder?
Okay. Now, if Makinde, let's go back to the issue of 4 years and 8 years. Will Makinde agree to do 4 years?
Is he there to win?
Okay, he's not there to win. He's just there to Iran also.
Of course, now.
Okay.
How can the Makinde
but
say
what
he
if
wants
they
to be
use
president?
him to divide Tinubu's vote in the southwest?
Which can divide Makinde? What political power does he have
He
in the
seems to be
southwest?
doing well in Oyo State.
He's doing well in Oyo State, and that is all.
And he's trying
People in Osun don't even know.
He's trying to extend his tentacles to Osun.
Those in Osun don't know. Those in Lagos don't know. Ask an average person on the streets of Lagos who is governor of Oyo State. Some of them might mention Ladoja or Akala, that is long.
Will he be gunning for vice presidency to another now?
And then what impact is he going to make? At presidential level, Makinde is still a new fight. He cannot upset.
Must he be
the
somebody?
applicant.
Well, Yar'Adua was somebody before he became. Was Jonathan somebody before he became president?
But a sitting president was behind Yar'Adua.
Okay, so do you know who is behind Makinde?
Not Tinubu.
All right then, thank you very much, Mr. Adele Fanimo. This is where we have to wrap up this show. Now, I've been speaking to Mr. Adele Fanimo, seasoned reporter and VOP in-house analyst. Thank you very much. We appreciate your presence.
It's always my pleasure.
All right then, on behalf of the backroom staff, I am Chukwuma Okoro. And up next is Issues with Jerry Apollo High. Join us again.